I am definitely a gym geek, gym nerd, gym weirdo. Got that info. So I'm over a third fat. The scale, guess what? It was 100. Well, hello, lovelies. Thank you for joining me as we talk about our 30-day recap in the middle of our 75 soft challenge. Holy crap. So I started off the challenge right as I was sick. My whole plan was derailed because I got sick. But I pushed through and I started anyway. Totally weak, little baby efforts, could barely get through, but I made sure I showed up, checked off, and kept going. First week, not my best work. And I was a little disappointed in myself because showing up wasn't cutting it. And I could already tell my efforts were not getting traction. I'm kind of at a loss for words because there's so much progress that has been going. So week 2, I put in a little bit more effort and I could feel the difference mentally, but also physically. Okay, yeah, there's more going on when I put in more effort. What a concept. Who knew? But then, if you watched my last video, I just posted talking about getting out of victim mode and overcoming self-sabotage and problems. Life kind of came at me, knocked me down, roadkill under the truck. But the biggest painful piece was that all of my videos and audio and screenshots and everything that I had from the last couple of weeks disappeared. It's gone. It's no more. So I don't have anything showing my journey for the last couple of weeks. You see me week 1, week 2, and then nothing until now, talking about the 30-day recap. A lot of change, a lot of frustration, a lot to overcome mentally, but that gave me such an eye-opener to realize you cannot just show up and win at this challenge. If you just want to lose a couple of pounds, there are 1,000 different fitness challenges you could do. You want to do something with health and wellness, there's meal plans, there's detox, there's a lot of options. The 75 soft or hard challenge is not the one for showing up and checking things off the list. And I can honestly say, when I completed my 75 soft challenge last year, and I'm super proud of myself, I don't want to take away from the work that I did, but I did not show up fully for the challenge to get all the benefits that it is meant to give you. What I mean by that is the more effort I put in, the more I commit to the steps, the more I dedicate my whole persona to becoming this new identity on the other side, the more is coming back to me. The more is lining up and matching who I see myself as being and how I can see what I allowed myself to become from just not caring. Everything that I allowed myself to become, and that life just said, okay, if that's what you want, here's more of it, has no place for me any longer. This recap right now, it's not just about if I've lost weight, if I've been checking things off, but my brain has grown to understand so much more. And I have so much more hope and belief for myself and where I'm going to go than I ever did at the beginning of this. At the beginning of this challenge, I was barely holding on. I was barely keeping it together and looking for the why. The why am I doing this? And I still have to remind myself, because especially when these little obstacles keep on coming along and knocking me down. Thank you if you already watched that video. I really appreciate you supporting this journey. Those were some pretty crazy things that were going on, and they're not really going away, but I want to develop the traits and the skills to not be bothered by them so much. Life is going to life, right? Life is going to life. So let's break it down into the actual challenge steps. I'll show you what the steps are that I am checking off, and then give you a little bit of feedback on all those areas, including my 30-day weigh-in, because if you saw the very start of my videos, I went for 2 months of not weighing myself, only to find out I lost 2 pounds. And so that was really disheartening. So I decided that I'm just going to focus on the steps, myself, and then I'll just worry about the scale later. Now I get to worry about the scale, and I get to show you how that went. Here is a simple little list I made on a task app. Basically, what you would find in most challenges, a few things that are a little bit different, like my morning stretches, and also having dumbbell exercises instead of just saying to do a workout. And that's specifically to make sure I do not skip the strength training, which is my biggest focus. Other than that, 10,000 steps a day, which has been absolutely fantastic, and a few self-care things to make sure I am not avoiding taking care of myself. All right, so weight. Let's talk about that. It's kind of one of those, it's been a long journey that had progress, and then I lost the progress, and then I gave up for a while, and then I started the progress again. And so let's just cut to the chase. As of June, I was at 154. Then my scale broke. Batteries needed to be replaced. No big deal. So I didn't weigh myself until August. And then in August, when I put new batteries in and weighed myself, right before I was about to start this challenge, I was at 152. So I basically lost 2 pounds over the entire month of what I thought was doing great exercise, working out, going to the gym, getting my steps in. Well, this whole time all that was going on, I was going through so much stress and turmoil from life that, you know how cortisol works and the stress and not sleeping. And even though I stopped drinking and I was eating better, like, nope. When I started my challenge, at the end of August, I decided to, or at the end of August? End of July? What month is it? It's October now? Anyway, when I started it, I decided I wasn't going to weigh myself on a weekly basis, especially not a daily basis, because that was so disheartening for me to see that there was no scale movement. I almost didn't even want to. I was just like, but it wasn't just losing weight. It was, I wanted to cut out a lot of my bad habits, which in my last video, I made myself list out all my bad habits and my traits and my things that were kind of lending itself to behavior that wasn't focused on progress. If I'm staying up late, if I'm snacking, if I'm losing my temper, losing my cool, not able to handle things like that, progress isn't happening. So I really just kind of dug in, found out all these areas that I know I can change or improve or work on, and what I want to see myself be able to achieve. So anyway, after all that, beginning of the 30-day, I decided, okay, weigh myself. And we all know scales are not lovely. Nobody likes a scale. But at the same time, when I weighed myself that day, I got an opportunity to weigh myself at the gym with their like full-on scale that like runs the electrical zaps up and like can test out the water fat percentages and all that. And got that info. I'll do a close-up on it and give some more details. But first, the scale, guess what? It was 149 pounds. Disappointing? Yeah. Did it move? Yeah. Did I feel like it should have moved a little bit more? Yes. But that, I think, has a lot to do with where I said you can't just show up. You can't just check off the list and said, but I'm doing the work, because I know when I pull myself away from victim mode, it's not my fault, I did everything I could, and actually analyzed my effort, I know I could have put in so much more effort. I know I could have busted my butt way better. I know I could have been a little bit more careful with what I was eating. Like, I had the ability to do better. So if I don't like the results I got, and I know there are steps I can still do, then I got what I got. That being said, what's so funny is when I went into the gym and they did their actual assessment, I was wearing full clothes. The only thing I took off was my shoes. And when I did my scale weigh-in here at home, I was just in underwear and bra. So, you know, extra pound maybe from clothes. I don't know. But their scale said 145.5 pounds. Yeah, so keeping in mind that number feels absolutely fantastic. I don't like to sugarcoat, and I don't like to do rose-colored tinted glasses and stuff. I like to hold myself accountable. And the reality is, if I would have done the gym scale at the beginning 30 days ago, it might have said 146 or 147, right? There's not really a I lost 5 pounds reality. It's just their scale started with a different number and has a different number today than my scale. I think the same amount of loss has happened either way. That being said, a lot of really cool info on here, like my body fat percentage is apparently 35.5. So I'm over a third fat. I don't know how I feel about that. But my water weight is 70 pounds. My protein mineral weight is 24 pounds. My fat is 52 pounds. That's some harsh truth for sure. So I'm in the needs work category. To be at a fair level of body fat, meaning you're not obese, you should be at 32. So anything more than that, of course, it gets better and better into more of the ideal body fat percentage. In 6 months, I go back and I do my test again, and I'll see how that little fat percentage has reduced, hopefully, by then. Okay, so here's the info basically. My body weight was 145.5, and that came from the components water, protein, mineral, which I'm assuming is bone, maybe? Yeah, bone. And then, of course, the fat being the 51.7. So those numbers are pretty rough. And then the body fat is 35.5% of my weight. And so it says 32 is fair. Ideal, of course, is going to be under 25. So it would be necessary to lose more than 8 pounds to achieve the fair body fat category. So if I want to get this into the fair zone, 35.5 down to 32, apparently is 8 pounds. So I need to lose 8 pounds of overall weight to get into. I kind of want to get it done each month, but they said there's no point in getting it done each month, but I really, really want to see what it is each round. And I wish I would have done something at the beginning of my challenge so I could have actually seen the big jump, but I didn't even know this was an option for me because I didn't have a gym membership until after I started the challenge. So, oh well, we start where we start. One of the biggest pieces I think that I've achieved on this 75 soft challenge would be not just that I got a gym membership, which I wanted to do, but I avoided doing ever since about 10 years ago when, like I'm sure a million other people, they get the gym membership, they go the first couple of weeks, the next week or two it tapers off, and then before you know it, you're paying for the membership on principle that you will go, but you don't go until you finally cancel it because you realize how much money you've spent and not gone. So, you know, good business, gym members, because nobody goes, but they don't want to cancel because then they have to admit that they didn't stick to the plan. But anyway, so I got the gym membership, but the challenge that I set for myself personally, if I got the gym membership, was to sign up for classes. And I'm so frustrated because I filmed all of my reactions, how it went each day, and it was hilarious. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I am definitely a gym geek, gym nerd, gym weirdo. Not sure what the term is for that, but a newbie for sure. I had just posted on my week 2 video of this challenge that I was trying to test out the gym with weightlifting, and I was completely petrified. I felt like everybody was watching me. I don't know what I was doing. But the next week, which I don't have the film for or the video for anymore, I pushed myself a little bit more. I picked a better day and a better time, and I went in and I made myself go to some of the machines and sit down, only to realize that the reason why all those machines were empty is because they were meant for the kids. It was the youth training machine zone. And so when I looked over and realized everybody was like, well, what's this lady doing on all the kids' exercise machines? I realized that's why they weren't fitting me and why I kind of felt like I was hunching in and it wasn't comfortable. So again, that day I got up, did a loop, and walked out the door embarrassed at not figuring it out. Third time I went in, I got myself in the right section, I sat at the right machines, and I was able to use, you know how a lot of the machines have like little images to kind of show you which muscle groups and how to use it. And I sat down and I'm like, okay, this time, this is going to be it. So I sit down, and this particular machine was for the core where you twist. Well, I twisted one way and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I get this. And I went to go twist the other way, and all of a sudden I hear this metal go clank, 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 clank. I'm like, oh no, I broke it. What did I do? So I'm like looking around, and I'm looking down at the machine, and I'm fiddling with some of the levers, and I go one way again. I'm like, okay, it's fine. And I come back the other way, and it goes clank, 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 clank. Why? So I casually stand up. I didn't run away scared. And I went to the other side of the room and got on a different machine that was sort of comfortable. It was just a typical horizontal push type of thing. But yeah, 3 rounds of going to the gym, and it just, not good at all. So thankfully, I signed up for weight training, strength training class for women. And it felt a little bit lame. Like, oh, they're going to make it all like cutesy and soft because girls don't know what they're doing. And then I stopped, and I'm like, Tay, you don't know what you're doing. You need somebody to be cutesy and soft so you can figure this out. Stop letting your ego get in the way and your pride that says, oh, I can do things on my own. No, you can't. No, you can't. You're going to accept the help. And I forced myself to go to the class. And I'm really glad. I absolutely love this class. I'm in the second week, and the women are all super supportive. Yeah, they're all older. There's one that's younger than me, but the rest of them are all older, but they're in the same position, right? They don't have the strength, the muscle. They've kind of let themselves go. And one thing we're learning now that we are in our 40s, that the muscle atrophies. It starts to diminish in months of not using it. Within a year, whatever weights you could pick up, like groceries and bags and stuff like that, you can't do that anymore. So it starts to get dangerous to not pay attention to your muscle development and your lack of development with each year that you get older. So that was really cool to see these women who are like taking back control and like, nope, I am not going to let these injuries happen. I am not going to be reliant on others. I am not going to be homebound. I can do stuff. And that was really inspirational to be next to them as they're learning. Well, I'm also learning at the same time. Okay, so I have completed 30 days, and I still have an additional 45 days to go in my 75 soft challenge. Keeping it in just chunks, the next week to 30 days, here's my next level up, because I feel like I've got a pretty good grasp on things. The hardest part is incorporating the discipline and skill set that I'm growing and using it, right? So like every time I get an obstacle coming at me, or a stressor or hardship, or I get overwhelmed, I don't want to just like go and hide. So I want to use these skills that I'm developing to let it go, to process it, to just say, okay, here it is. What do I do? So I can continue on. And I think that I'm going to have to meditate, practice meditation, some breathing exercises, and that's going to give me the ability to stay clear. And when I'm clear, I can plan. Because when I'm in overwhelm mode, I'm just not thinking. I'm just like in reaction, reacting to everything and trying to hide and run away. And there's nothing wrong with a good cry every now and then. It's very therapeutic. So I'm not wanting to run away from feeling the big emotions. I just want to have my steps in place for what to do when I'm done feeling and ready to do stuff again. That being said, on my steps for my challenges, I'm getting my walks in. I'm not really having any issues if I stick to my plan of kind of dividing it out through the day. Earlier I get each step done, the less I have to worry about, and the more relaxing my walk is, of course, at the end of the day. But I've been in my weight training class, strength training class. And so I'm just starting to kind of use machines and everything. And I do have my dumbbells. I do have the dumbbells I've been using for my at-home workouts, but I mean, they're 3 pounds. And that was great. My first week, I could feel it. Second week, I was like, I can do this. But now at 30 days, this is starting to be not enough. I'm so excited to say it's not enough. I want more. So I'm going to be getting the next setup of weights. So that way, when I'm at home doing my videos, I can push a little bit more. Next step after that, I think I'm going to focus on, I need to focus on food. I'm getting very lenient in my food options. What I mean by that is I'm not pushing to encompass a variety. My lunch, if you've seen over my last couple of videos, it doesn't change. Like hard-boiled egg, beans or fruit, and a slice of sourdough toast, coconut oil on it. And I'm sprinkling Celtic sea salt on the hard-boiled eggs and beans, which just so good. Super good. 30 days plus before I started the challenge when I was doing it, I'm finally getting a little tired of the same old, same old. The problem is I really rely on the comfort of just walking into the kitchen, grabbing my food, and going. I don't want to overload decision fatigue with what am I going to make for food? What am I going to make for lunch? Because I already do that for dinner. I'm already like, but I don't have that for lunch. I don't have my little repertoire of foods that I enjoy for lunchtime. So that I think is going to be my focus for the next leg of this journey. I'm going to up my weights. I'm going to practice my breathing and meditation so I can stay calm in the face of life's trials. And then I'm going to work on more of a variety that I can grab from lunch options. Like I'm not worried about dinner. For some reason, dinner is doing good, but lunch when it's just me and I have all the effort for just me, I don't like to do that much effort. So I need to find what I can turn into my go-to plate of food. So 3 things for the next 30 days. We're going to see how it's going to go. And hopefully that scale is going to move just a little bit more. 3 pounds in 30 days. It's good. I know that the first week, I really wasn't doing a lot because I was sick. I didn't have the energy, so I wasn't putting out a lot. I would say that 1 week is not a surprise. I probably got no weight loss on that one. So I'm going to say 3 pounds, 3 weeks. That feels a little bit better, a pound a week. Sometimes you got to say the things that make you feel good. But we'll check in on next week as I start integrating these things in. So be sure to check out how I'm doing. Leave a comment, give me some feedback, support my journey. Always appreciated. Thank you.